So, um, but we'll get there. I'm confident that I will. So we're talking about insulin resistance, right? This is something that affects so many people. And here's the deal, folks. If you want to make a big impact in business or in life, you've got to be able to solve a major problem. And right now, the biggest health issue in the world is something called insulin resistance. And most people don't. And most often, we're just treating this with meds or diets, okay? And so I want you guys to think about your own health as I share this information, right? Are you struggling with your weight? Are you struggling with high cholesterol and high blood pressure? Do you have skin issues that you can't get rid of? Okay. You know, I had donated a kidney years before, and when they told me that my one was failing, I was terrified. I was overweight, I was exhausted. I honestly felt like my body was giving up. And instead of giving in, I decided to fight back. And I started learning about insulin resistance and what it is, right? I started learning why so many of us are sick. And, you know, my mom is 84 years old and she's got Alzheimer's and dementia. She's on a bunch of meds. And so I think about her and I think about, man, I really wish that I knew this information 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know, how many people in my life have been affected by these health issues, and most people just don't realize it. And so, folks, if you are struggling with your health, I just want you to know that you should have hope. Okay, you can fix it and you can improve your health in ways that don't need meds or diets. Okay, now what is insulin resistance? Right, you may have heard of this, but it's something that's often glossed over. Okay, every time you and I eat, we spike our glucose. Right, our blood sugar goes through the roof. And when our blood sugar goes up, okay, the reality is that, right, you're increasing your insulin, right? Your insulin is elevated. And this is one of the reasons why we are gaining weight. This is one of the reasons why we're tired all the time. Okay. And I appreciate you wanting to hop on. And Louis, thank you for hopping on. Appreciate that. But how many of you have skin issues, high blood pressure, high cholesterol? How many of you have migraines and neuropathy and acid reflux and kidney disease and, you know, PCOS, erectile dysfunction, right? These are all things that are caused by insulin resistance. And there's two things that I teach that help people to improve their health naturally: fasting and fiber. Okay. And fasting is an absolute game changer because what it does is it helps to reboot your stem cells. It gives your gut a break. It reduces inflammation. Okay. Let's see here. And so I think about this, right? How many people have family members that are affected by these health issues? And here's the science behind why insulin resistance happens, right? Every time we eat, especially carbs and sugar, our blood sugar spikes. And this triggers the release of insulin, right? Which helps the body to absorb the sugar. But over time, if we're eating too much sugar, okay, or we're constantly snacking, our body starts to resist insulin. It causes the cycle of insulin resistance. And when insulin can't get sugar into the cells effectively, it gets stored in places where it shouldn't be, like your liver, your joints, or even your brain. And this can lead to joint pain and arthritis. It can lead to brain fog. Okay, it can lead to all of these things. Okay. And this is one of the reasons why I share this. Okay. All of these warning signs start to happen, right? You start to get high cholesterol and high triglycerides. LDL, right? That's fatty liver disease. Okay. You start to get PCOS, ladies. Okay. You finally blow out the pancreas, and now you have diabetes. And folks, when you get diabetes, your cardiovascular system, right? Your cardiovascular risk goes up by 80%. And your Alzheimer's and dementia risk goes up by 81%. Now, why is this important? Okay. Because most of us are metabolically unhealthy, right? Most of us are on a bunch of medications, right? Medications don't fix the root cause. Folks, what if instead of chasing the symptoms, we tackled the one thing that's causing them all? That would make the most sense, right? But unfortunately, that is what is not happening. So one of the reasons why I get on here every single day is I want people to understand that they can improve their health in ways that don't require a medication, a diet, okay? Or feeling like you have to go and do 2-a-days at the gym, okay? I love talking about this because it helps so many people. If you can incorporate fasting and fiber into your diet, folks, it literally makes the biggest difference when it comes to your health. It's an absolute game changer, and I really wish that I would have known about this years ago. Because my dad would still be here. And folks, if you're struggling with your health in some way today, okay, just making simple lifestyle changes, fasting every day, breakfast is, we were taught that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. But guess what? Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day, right? This was brought to you by, the Rockefellers. It was brought to you by the Kellogg's Corporation, right? They created this idea that having breakfast first thing in the morning and putting a slice of banana in your cereal was the best way to start your day, right? And essentially what you're doing is you're starting your day with a bowl of sugar and carbs. And if that's how we're starting our day, folks, it literally wrecks the rest of your day. It really does. And folks, I really wish that I knew about this years ago, because there's so many people that unfortunately have been affected by these issues, but most people don't realize what insulin resistance is because nobody talks about it. Now, folks, if you have a doctor that is talking to you about insulin resistance, hold on to them, because the sad reality is that they're not, okay? And this is why I get on here and I share this with as many people as I possibly can, right? How many of you are on metformin or Ozempic? Like, how many of you are on these meds? How many of you are on a diet that, restricts you from what you really want to eat, right? How many of you are sick and tired of being sick and tired? And if that's you, put me in the chat. I didn't know what insulin resistance was, and it wasn't until I was 46 that I started learning what insulin resistance was. And what's crazy is that insulin can be high for 10 to 20 years before it actually leads to a diabetes diagnosis. That's what's so crazy about this, folks. Really, it's crazy. And I just want you to know, folks, that if you are affected by this, if you're struggling with your health, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. You can fix it without the need for meds or diets. I just wish I would have known about this a lot sooner, right? Folks, I just wanted to jump on and just take a few minutes and, share what insulin resistance is, okay? If you know of somebody who's struggling with their health, share this information with them so that they can hop on, they can listen, they can be a fly on the wall, okay? They can have a better understanding of what insulin resistance is, and most importantly, what they can start to do to improve their health. And if this resonates with you, and if it helps you to understand what you can do to improve your own health, that's what this is all about, okay? Folks, I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for jumping on this live, even just for a few minutes. Okay. I really do appreciate each and every one of you for getting on here and supporting. Thank you, Miji. Thank you to everyone who's made comments. And I hope that you guys have a blessed night.